Hi Anita, it's Jason Hawkins here from K&D Digital. Thanks for requesting a analysis through our business and through our website. I am going to just take you through a few different aspects of the site, the sort of UX, usability, user experience, some SEO components. You're asking about SEO, and thank you for sending through some of the stats from your analytics. I'll look at some mobile stuff, site speed, and talk a little bit about your ads after our discussion about what you're doing with your ads. Look, to be honest, you are doing a great job, or you've gone through what looks like a process of a bit of reinvention with your site over perhaps the last 12 months. So you've got a lot to be happy about and a great base to work from the site. Overall, the site is actually really good. You're doing all the right things. It looks great, although I'm not sure what's going on here with images not working in the photo gallery. However, overall, there's information here that is pretty much reaching your market. However, there's a few extra things that we can do on this site, or that you can do on this site, to really go to the next level. Obviously, part of your marketing strategy is reaching out to international students, and you are doing that via geographically targeted ads on Google, and then clicking through to your homepage. At the moment, there's not really, that's an okay strategy, but it's not a really good strategy to try and track certainly the performance of those ads, and to get the right to know whether your ads are really working. So I would think under applicants, or a section about engaging the global community, how you welcome Indian students, how you welcome Asian students, as a particular landing page under your applications or applicants section. I know, colleges and education, you're not about a hard sell necessarily, but at the same time, there's a way to, I think, soften the engagement and move a user through the process of inquiry in a way that's a little bit more targeted. You want to try and mirror like what you're doing on this homepage with an Asian style image, attracting that type of client, then or student. That's a perfect example of that, but you could take that to the next level. So let's also, I'm going to jump around a little bit here because there's a fair bit to get through, but I'll show you a few of these different things. From a user perspective, I think there's a little bit of a leap from, the apply now, to a very dry sort of process page here. I think there could be a step back to, if I'm under this area, there's a page that's dedicated to your ad, which might be an Asian student accommodation for UQ, and then have on there a soft engagement, so a download our information pack for our Asian cohort. So it's all the really rich information that you would provide that cohort, and really enough to really add value is what I'm saying. So I don't want to jump a student straight into a page that's just boom, 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 inquire here or enroll here. Probably needs to step back and provide a softer enrollment process. Even if it's a name, email address, your intention, year of enrollment, and to download that PDF that's the value add that you could send to them outside in the email process. What's interesting also about your mobile engagement here, your mobile site's looking really good. This is all working nicely. However, again, the the apply now jumps across to a non-mobile friendly zone. So in WordPress, if you used a form process or a small a small inquiry form, that could stay within the structure of the site, and then you'd be, staying within this sort of mobile experience and creating a much smoother user experience there. Okay, so I'll go one step further with this Asian and Indian student, international student, or any student for that matter, engagement. On your site, you currently don't have a blog or a news feed style or updates or our community feed, community engagement type of live feed on the site. And you're probably, at the moment you may be using Facebook for this, and your Facebook feed is excellent. But where social crosses over to your website inquiry would be where the power of your stats. So you want to, when you're posting onto Facebook, you also want to post link backs to, hey, there's a story here, about, here's Shelley. So a story about Shelley, she's a Facebook fan, been in the kitchen. So instead of just featuring this on Facebook, do a article that sits on your website about Shelley. So you're getting the click from Facebook through to your website. That will really work your numbers around what you're trying to do, sort of combine your social strategy and your LinkedIn strategy and Snapchat, whatever those tools are where all your students live, to drive them back to your core website. And I know your core student cohort who are already staying at Grace, they don't necessarily need to go to your website. They will have like a closed Facebook group or whatever engagement in that process. But certainly for prospective students, you would want to see a nice balance between social engagement for the broader community and your website news and what you're actually doing in the community, and what the students are doing at UQ, heroing some students that are performing really well, and you're doing that within your video, and I think you've done a snapshot of that with different videos you've got on the site, which is brilliant. But I'd be introducing a particular news feed or updates, or whatever that Grace feel or community communication feel you want. If we have a look at your, bear with me for a sec. Let's have a look at your stats. I'm on the all website data users perspective, and what's really interesting is that your second most visited page is price. And about price and about policies. So I would like to think there's a few other paths of engagement just before you get to price. So maybe it's worth rethinking a little bit of this structure, or at least, let's have a look at this price page. So the price page could tell a whole lot more of the story. If this is the highest traffic page, which it is, then tell more of the story before you just dive into the price. So it's a chance for you to sell. It's a chance for you to provide a softer sell, a information pack download, which you kind of do here. Download a fact sheet for 2020, but maybe repackage that up for your individual markets. Maybe for country students, for city students, for international students, whatever those are, really make the student feel welcome. So interestingly enough, your apply now, which is probably your biggest call to action or your CTA, is buried down the bottom of the page. So why not have, ask us about a room, check, like Gold Coaster Booking, check availability for 2020. Those sorts of things for a softer sell and a more targeted engagement through that process. So that's the enrollment process. Your LinkedIn profile, not that LinkedIn maybe is a great lead capture for you, but I can see, you've got 8 months, 9 months. Maybe this was when your videos were created and when you launched your new website. This could be a little bit more fleshed out. I would hope it to be more fleshed out with more recent content than 7 to 8 to 9 months old content. So that's LinkedIn. As I said, your Facebook is really good, but introducing a blog would make that connectivity across to the site and get those numbers up with those engagements. I've already had a look at that. From a speed perspective, you don't really have anything to worry about there. Just a basic test, your load time is about 5.5 seconds, which is excellent, really, for the amount of imagery and content you're serving. That is all good, no worries there. Anything over 7, you would start to worry, but as long as that first byte is really engaging quickly into the site, which it is, I didn't feel like I was waiting for the site to load at all, so that's excellent. Back to a little bit of SEO, and here's a good example. I've done a Google search, and really you will know from your stats as to what Google searches are most meaningful to you and what markets you're chasing as a result of your organic searches and how you're performing, and that might be worth looking at your Webmaster Tools search console for Google. But here's an example: best college UQ for Indian students. And look, I would hope that the colleges, UQ's done this global engagement. And this is a perfect example of if you had a news article or a feature article that was about engaging the global community, you have a chance to actually rank on this page 1 as a lead capture. So it would be worth thinking about what your key markets are actually going to search for in Google, because I think that's kind of missing from your site. If you have a look at, so here I'm just rolling over the title of the page here, and it says Home, Grace, you can see that pop up, Home, Grace on-campus student accommodation community. So that doesn't mention UQ. So I would get that in there. If you're targeting UQ students or university student accommodation, that needs to be much more targeted, that title. And that's the same with every page on your site. The site needs to have very specific content. So residents, let's have a look at Life and Grace. So Life at Grace, for example, is a great soft title, but this is your heading 1, your most probably powerful term on this page, and it connects with different parts of the content as it rolls down this page. So, and that starts up here. So that should really say living on campus at UQ, Grace College. So you would start the page title and the URL here, and then your headings and your main paragraphs as you move down the page just need to be a little bit more aligned with each of your search phrases, and you'll find that you'll start to bubble to the surface in each of these main searches. So, for example, best accommodation UQ for women. So that may or may not be a search term, by the way, but I'm just using that as an example. So women's college have quite an advantage for this search, because I've talked women and I've said, accommodation, etc. And you can see here, women's college, women's college, women's college. So searching for not necessarily the women's college, but they were searching for a women's college, which women's college obviously are going to pick up at UQ. So they can dominate this search. But I would have thought you need to be on this page as well. So you would need to start doing some longer featured articles around accommodation for women on UQ campus. So you would need to get much more targeted about your fresh content flowing through the site. Again, this blog, news, updates kind of process that can actually highlight and target these search phrases in a more dynamic way. And you'd be doing that on a month-on-month basis to really make that happen. The other part about Google is your profile in Google, which is your Google My Business profile, which is pretty good. And you can see here is fleshed out. Your Google reviews, you probably, looks like you did a few or prompted the students to do a few reviews back when your site was launched. I would get that happening on a more regular basis. Try and get that from 8 Google reviews up to 38. Get a number up there that's so if you do get a bad review, that it won't impact your overall ranking. So that's all about volume, and going out to your community and asking your students to do if you have a good student feedback, then ask them to do a Google review about that, and you'll find that over time that will again really form a really good basis for you in your Google profile. So I've spoken about SEO and how you can do that. I've talked about your mobile, I've talked about site speed, and I'm pretty sure what I've talked about with your flow through with your ads and how they could land not on your homepage but on specific targeted landing pages with a soft sell will make a difference. And it doesn't have to. You don't have to land on a really heavy selling page. It can be, engaging the international community. We welcome blah. We're building ties and relationships with, partnered colleges overseas, whatever that might be as part of that soft process. But you probably need to factor that in. You'll probably find you may be paying a lot more for your ads because they're not as targeted as they could be. The landing pages will, if they're not in alignment with your ad, will increase your bid cost, and your quality score will be a low quality score, therefore they'll be charging you more for your ads. So info pack on enrollment, and I'm pretty sure you could do a lot more around that soft inquiry, check availability type of thing. So again, thank you for the opportunity to do this review. If you need assistance with any of these components, then don't hesitate to reach out, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Cheers.